Hello ladies and gents, this is another video brought to you by Ants Hood. So today's video is going to be about my Carebara Diversa and how the army is growing, finally. As some of you guys know, this is my second attempt at trying to keep Carebara Diversa. Last time they got mites, they died within a couple of weeks of receiving them, which was pants, but it is what it is. And now I'm so pleased to know that these guys are actually growing, and I will show you some footage very shortly about how they're getting on. Now, I know this isn't the greatest picture I've got of my Carebara, but I just love them because you can just see the size of the workers compared to the queen. And there's I don't even know if it's a major or not, just there, but it's still huge compared to the main workers. And then the majors of these get as big as the queen, so you can imagine how big they are. I just can't wait for these guys to grow properly. If you haven't seen the previous video, I'll put a link in the top right corner now so you guys can check it out. Now, as you know from the other video, this is the current setup I've got here. Now, if you know, it's not very busy in the outworld, but when I put fresh kills in there, it gets very busy, and they do generally annihilate it. But if we look in a test tube, you'll get to see them in their full glory, and then you can clearly see how much they've grown since my last video. And we all know I love a macro shot, so let's check it out. Now, the queen is very difficult to make out. One, because the test tube's dirty. Two, she's got workers all over her. But you can see that nice big healthy pile of brood just behind her. Now you can clearly see from the numbers I've probably trebled in size since my last video, but you need to bear in mind that my last video was only 3 months ago. Now I expected better growth from them within this 3 months, but when I had a big die off after I did that last video, I was really concerned yet again this was going to die on me as well. But I persisted, left her alone, and she's picked up really good, as you can see here. Now I won't lie, I was flapping a little bit. I was very concerned that this colony was going to die on me as well. I spoke to Rich at Antantics, and he said it might just be travel stress, and I've had some die-offs. So I took his word for it, didn't try and force a move into a naturalistic setup, which was one of the options that I could have done, or like I did last time, and that didn't work out well for me, did it? There's an egg stuck to that ant spot. But yeah, so I was patient, I was persistent, I left them alone and just fed them in the outworld. This is why I attach outworlds to test tube setups when I've got queen with workers, because I can leave the queen alone and leave her to be undisturbed, while I can still access with feeding and watering them, as it were, without being concerned that I'm disturbing them. Now I am a little bit concerned because I've always been told these are fast growing, but this is 3 months since my last video, and yes, they've quadrupled in size probably by about 4 times, maybe more, but I expected a bit quicker growth because they've got a reputation for growing quick. That could be just because they're in the foundation stage and they may be a bit slow to start, a bit like what my fire ants were like, my Solenopsis geminata. They were a bit slow to start off, but then they just took off. Hopefully these guys will do the same. But what is nice to see is I've got a nice mix of workers now. I've got loads of little small workers, loads of them. I can't tell you how small they are, they're tiny, but I've got a good nice bit of majors about as well. And those majors vary in size as well. You've got some bigger ones and some smaller ones. I didn't realise, I knew they were polymorphic in a big way because you get majors as big as the queen and workers as small as they are, but there seems to be a lot of different scales in between the big and the small. Now I wasn't expecting that, but I'm definitely seeing that now, which is also a good indication that the colony's doing well because they're producing new majors. And what a great view of that brood pile. It is really impressive. Now, like I was saying before, this is the water. 1, it's starting to run out, and 2, it's starting to turn yellow, so it's clear that they need to move very soon. Normally when I've got a colony that's taking up this small amount of space that these guys are, I would look at moving them into another test tube, but I'm not with these, and I'll explain why. They are only occupying a small space, like I said, but because they do grow quite quickly and I do have quite an impressive brood pile, I think if I stick them in another test tube, then they're not going to be in there for long before I need to move them out. So I'm kind of like risking it for a biscuit, because I'm the first one to say keep them in a test tube, keep them in a test tube, keep them in a test tube, don't move them to a nest too soon. But look, I'm going against my word and I'm moving them into a nest. And the reason is because I know that they're going to fill this very quickly once they start getting going when it comes to the brood development. So I am going to move them now and save me the aggro later, and I'm going to put them in this MS 3.5. Yes, it is on a little bit of the big side, but there is small chambers for them to use, so I'm not too fussed. There is a risk they'll return it into trash, but I've seen them move their trash about before, so there is all the negatives of putting them into a nest this big, but I also think the benefits are going to be way higher. Plus, this nest is really good at holding on to humidity, so I trust this nest. I've used it before and it's worked, so I think it'll be fine this time. Now, believe it or not, I've learned from my mistakes and I preempted that this was going to happen, and I've put a junction in there with a stopper that all I need to do is take it out, as you'll see in a second. Sorry about that flickering, it's from the LED light. Unfortunately, I'm not going to retake it because I've connected it all up, so I'm not going to do it for the benefit of the video. But as you can see, all I need to do is take it out. There, I've got a little bit of a trash pile here. That's what the cotton bud is for, or the Q-tip if you're American. So buy more. So bear that in mind. I'm just going to clean this out, flick some of the workers back into the outworld. But generally speaking, it is a very easy disconnect, reconnect. Now, if I left it till later on when they were really busy, then I wouldn't have the opportunity to clean this up, because they would have been escaping all over the place. But luckily enough for me, they're pretty chilled out in their test tube at the moment. There's not a crazy amount of them, so it's just a simple clean it out and connect it up, and it is literally that easy. Now, this is the older nest, not the Gen 3 Wakooshi stuff, which is now for sale, by the way, guys. So I've had to use this old tubing and put the standard 13mm tubing inside it so it connects up properly. Now, of course, they have been as stubborn as any other ants that I've ever kept in the history of the world, and they have not moved into the new nest yet. But these guys do like the high humidity. That nest can produce high humidity, so it is ideal for them in those regards. And if they really insist, they can dig at the gypsum. Doesn't bother me as long as they're happy. Now, I do think the nest is going to be okay for them. Looking at the size and amount of brood, I generally don't think this nest is going to be too big, but there's plenty of small chambers they can occupy if they don't feel comfortable. Now, I do love these girls. I have been talking to some people from the Philippines regarding these girls, and they tell me that the queen generally lasts about 4 to 5 years, and after that the queen tends to die. So what you need to do is introduce a new queen at around the 3-year mark with them. They apparently, I've been told, I can't verify this anywhere, this is just what I've been discussing with this person, is that they will accept a small colony and merge, but generally speaking it will be single queens they will take into the nest and adopt, as it were. There is examples of this with other species, but I've not really seen it documented with Carebara, but they do assure me that that is the case with Carebara Diversa. Now, these guys, for a colony of this size anyway, are very protein hungry. They do destroy maybe a nymph, I think they're called nymph cockroaches, or a baby cockroach to me, because I just use simple terms, and they're about 2 centimeters long. So they go through one of them about once every 2 days that I put a fresh one in. Now, normally for a colony of this size, I wouldn't bother with that, but these guys are taking it, and as a result, they are producing a load of workers. There is a risk of protein poisoning, but I generally don't think that's an issue, judging by the size of the queen and how quickly the brood started to build up as well. I think it's the right course of action. My plans going forward for these girls is to mainly have a central nest hub, but I am planning on putting outworlds, hopefully attached to the wall, all over the place, because I want them to go to multiple locations, because they do form hunting columns, and there is a newly emerged major as well. Hunting columns, which would be really cool to see, hence the army column, and why this is building up my army in this video, because these guys are like a little army with the way they go off in columns and then look for prey and then cart it back to the nest. Now, even though I do have some majors, even though they're the smaller majors, not the super majors, what I have noticed about is that I never see them in the outworld hunting for food. I think they're purely being used, you can see from the earlier footage, they're being used as the larders or to store the food in, because their abdomens are all swollen up. But like I said, I've not seen them go out and process the food. It's just be the miners that are doing that at the moment. Now let's talk about the AntCon. It is the first convention that's happening in May, and the tickets are on sale now. I will put a link in the description below so you can check it out. But take a look at this. You're going to get exclusive items, which is cool if you buy a ticket. Now, I have been talking to Wakooshi about this, and they're looking if a ticket costs, I think gold, I'll talk about it in a second, but gold's like 65 quid. You should get about 100, 130 quid worth of free stuff as well. So it's well worth going for it. After drinks, well, what can I say? You know I love my beer, and you're guaranteed that I will be going out for a beer afterwards. I know a lot of this content creators, Wakooshi and Rich, are meeting up on Friday for a couple of bevies beforehand as well, so we can get to know each other, because it's the first time we've seen each other as well. So you guys, if you're sticking around for the 2 days, are more welcome to join. I know some of my Patreons are joining me there as well, which is great. And we get to check out Ant Antics' place as well, which I'm really looking forward to going through and actually seeing how his setup works and stuff like that. But let's talk about the tickets then. Oh no, influencers. If you are an ant influencer, then you can have a look yourself. I'll probably use that space, but generally speaking, I'll just use my phone, doing a bit of selfie recording if I do it, to keep you guys in the loop as well. And I won't lie guys, I am really looking forward to seeing some people. I know Ant England's looking at going, I know that EA's going, I know that Holifer's going, I'm definitely going. I think there's some other peeps that are going as well, but I can't think off the top of my head. So it's definitely worth going if you like your influencers and you want to see them, because I'm really looking forward to seeing these peeps. Now the bronze ticket, you can have a look what you get up to, which is cool. A 30% discount, and if you're buying stuff and bringing out the deep pockets, because I'm probably going to spend all my money as well. The silver has got the same as the bronze with a couple of extras, and you get an exclusive Venus nest with the Ankon logo on it, I believe is they're looking at. And a medium outworld and a medium nest, that's not bad. If you check out his Gen 3 stuff, and you can see how much that's worth compared to your ticket. And if you're a YouTuber, you can get this pants ticket, which I won't be getting because I'll be getting the gold because I like free stuff. I won't lie guys, I am super excited about this, and I hope to see you guys there too. Well, that's it for today then guys. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope to see you at the Ankon, because now the tickets are on sale. And they will go like hotcakes. There's only 100 spaces, so bear that in mind. But as always, I need to give a super massive thanks to my Patreon supporters. So generally, from the bottom of my heart, a big massive thank you to Adam W, Adrian, Antantics, Anty Matters, David D, Jason W, Kevin R, Paul A, Pavance, PJGrant and Wakooshi. Now if you guys do want to become a member of my Patreon and support my channel, by all means check out the link in the description below. As always guys, I'm still buzzing at the fact I'm over 1,000 subs, and that's down to you guys to sub in, so big thank you to you too. Anyway, I will stop talking rubbish. That's it for today then guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye for now.